Hey, I'm Lowell. This is Pacific Solo. I have to prepare myself for the greatest challenge of my life, crossing the North Pacific via what I'm calling Nemo North, the place in the North Pacific furthest away from land in any direction, and to take you there with me via this channel. Hi, I'm Lowell Shepherd of Pacific Solo, and I'm scared. I'm crossing the Pacific next late spring, early summer from Tokyo to Vancouver to see my mom to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch via a place I've called Nemo North. And I'm often asked, am I scared? And I was asked that again last night by a group of sailors. And I said, yes, I am. I wake up every morning daunted. So I'd like to share with you my current top 10 fears and how I'm trying to address them as part of my captain's log this month. So here we go. Number 10. I actually addressed this in an episode a few weeks ago because one of my fears, although I am responding to it and it's much diminished, is the fear of going up the mast. And now I'm doing it fairly regularly, fairly frequently, and enjoy it, but it's still a residual fear of being out in the open sea and doing it safely. Number 9. It's the companion fear of 10. It's going under the boat. And I suppose it's not a fear of water, and it's not a fear of swimming. It's a fear of the deep and what lies below. I'm doing nothing to prepare for that other than thinking about it lots. So, fear number 8, of course, it's storms. Everybody asks me, are you frightened of storms? And I'm trying to learn as much about weather patterns as possible. I'm trying to learn and appreciate that no matter what the forecasts are, and I'll be getting forecasts downloaded every day of a land team supporting me, a meteorologist helping me with sailors navigate, going thread to the eye of the needle, but also learning and appreciate that it's microclimate that nobody else can predict. I've already discovered that sailing. I'll be going between latitudes 35 and 40 most of the way, leaving in June prior to the big typhoon season, because that's when the prevailing winds are with me. And somehow I have to just get the right side of the lows and be on the bright side of the highs in order to make it. Now my number 7 fear is mechanical. Being able to deal with her. My friend Tony, though, who's a mechanical genius who has helped me out over the phone already, he's going to teach me 10 things I need to know about diesel engines and how to repair. I know a little bit, but just a fraction of what I need to know. Number 6, it's being alone. Yeah, that frightens me. Something I don't think I've ever shared publicly before, and probably only my immediate family were ever aware of this, but I grew up with a fear of the dark. And so I suppose it's particularly being alone at nighttime that unsettles me. I'm excited by it, I'm looking forward to it, but it is a fear, I have to confess. I guess also part of being alone, it's I'll miss my family and I'll miss my friends. I'm a social creature, and part of that is I worry. So having no contact, I'm going to worry for 2 months of what's happening back on land with people I care about. So that's a fear of dealing with that. And then also part of being alone is perhaps the fear of madness, because it seems fairly common among solo sailors that some degree of madness is experienced. In most cases it's temporary madness, but it's hallucinating, hearing voices, and I'm kind of looking forward to whose voice I'm going to hear and who I'm going to see. But it's the fear of being alone in the dark, and I wonder what demons may surface from my childhood. Number 5, it's hitting something, and hitting, there's 3 objects I think of when I think of my fear of hitting something. The fear of hitting ships. I'm responding to that by having an AIS unit that a friend has donated to me, which alerts me when there's ships within a certain distance. I can set an alarm, so I'm actually woken up at 30 nautical miles or 10 nautical miles. It's also the fear of containers. There's nothing I can really do about that. And it's a rare occurrence, I'm told, despite the movie with Robert Redford. But it is a real concern, and because there's thousands of containers a year that fall into the sea. And the third object I'm afraid of hitting is a whale, because I'm hearing more accounts of whales. Very rare times when the whale attacks the boat. It's usually when the whale hasn't seen the boat. And I'm told there's a problem with fiberglass and the whale's communication system. If any of you can shed light on this, help me. But I'm concluding that I need to be sending out acoustic signals, and therefore need to be having music playing or something. Number 4, this is a real fear: falling overboard. Heard an account again recently of a British man from Japan who fell overboard, and his girlfriend was left on board, and he was lost at sea. So I'm going to take precautions. I've got tethers in different locations, including one at the back, and excuse the terminology, but what they call the piss deck. And with my Hydrovane A-frame, I can actually get down fairly protected, but I'll always be tethered whenever I'm up on deck, whether in the cockpit or wherever. Number 3, real immediate concern is I'll run out of money. I've now invested all my own life savings except for the house, which I promised my wife I wouldn't touch. I have to have a certain degree of readiness, so I'm in my final round of gathering sponsors together, and I need to be 80% ready within about 2.5 months' time. And so I'm fearful of running out of money, which means I will leave not at the level of readiness I need to be. Number 2, which used to be number 1. It's been overtaken, but it's still my number 2 fear, and it's simply, in the words of somebody else, the fear of not doing it is now greater than the fear of doing it. Finally, number 1, which this began to take grip of me last spring, and my number 1 fear is I will arrive too late and my mother will not recognize me any longer, nor know my name. So, not so much with haste, but with determination and due diligence, I prepare myself and Wahine to go in it's about 7 months' time. So those are my top 10 fears and how I'm trying to resolve them. Hey, thanks everybody.